If you think the next big leap in advertising is all about more data or, the death of the cookie, you might be looking in the wrong place. The real shift, the one that's actually going to redefine how our entire industry works, it's not about data. It's about language, a whole new language built for AI.
So, let's get right into it because this is a pretty big deal. We're talking about a fundamental change to the plumbing of programmatic advertising. So what is this new protocol that's making all these waves? Let's figure it out. What the heck is AdCP?
Okay, so at its core, AdCP is not another platform you have to log into, thank goodness. Just think of it more like a universal handshake, or maybe a shared grammar. It's basically the connective tissue that lets an advertiser's AI agent talk directly to a publisher's AI agent. Brian O'Kelly, one of the co-creators of Prebid, he calls it the Universal Ads API for the open web, and I think that's a perfect way to describe it.
So how does this actually fit in with what we already have? Well, this right here is the key difference. OpenRTB, which we all know and love, is all about the transaction. It asks what? What's the bid? What's the price? AdCP, on the other hand, is designed to standardize the intelligence behind the buy. It asks why. Why is this campaign running? What is the advertiser's real intent? We're talking about a shift from an era of simple auctions to one where AI agents are actually collaborating.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? Like, in practice? How is an AI going to use this protocol to go out and buy ads? Let's walk through a real-world example.
All right, so let's say an advertiser's AI agent gets a prompt, something specific, like find women rock climbers in the UK who care about sustainable gear. Now, instead of just going out and buying some predefined outdoorsy segment, the agent uses ACP to communicate that very specific intent to publisher agents. And those publisher agents can then respond in real time, packaging up relevant inventory and even estimating the return on ad spend for that specific goal. Then, the cool part, the agents negotiate and design the deal automatically. No more manual deal IDs, no more spreadsheets. It's all machine to machine.
Now let's be clear, AdCP isn't going to just replace OpenRTB overnight. It's more of an evolution. Right now, today, OpenRTB is our backbone. We're about to enter a transition phase where they're going to coexist. OpenRTB will still handle all the high-volume transactions, while AdCP adds this new strategic layer for planning and negotiation. The future vision, though, is for AdCP to become the main operating system for an ad economy that's really driven by intent.
So, we've covered the what and the how, but now for the most important question. Why? Why go through all this trouble? Well, the promise of ACP isn't just about making things more efficient. It's about trying to fundamentally fix some of the most broken parts of our ecosystem. And there are some huge promises here. First, radical transparency. Because every single negotiation is a direct, logged conversation, it helps cut through that supply chain fog and fight fraud like domain spoofing. There's an actual auditable trail. Second, this is a big one, publisher empowerment. Their agents can negotiate on a totally level playing field, properly valuing their first-party data. Third, we can finally move beyond just competing on price. Agents can negotiate deals based on other values like user attention, or, as Scope 3 is exploring, even the carbon footprint of an impression. And finally, for anyone who's ever set up a PMP, this system promises to automate that whole cumbersome process, making private deals way more scalable.
So this right here is the core conceptual shift, and it is a big one. Our industry has been built on buying audiences and segments, which are, let's be honest, pretty blunt instruments. AdCP lets us move toward fulfilling a specific advertiser intent within a dynamic situation. It's the difference between buying auto-intenders and finding a user who is right now, in this very moment, researching electric vehicle charging stations. It's a whole different ballgame.
Of course, an initiative this ambitious needs some serious industry muscle behind it to even have a chance. And as you can see, the founding consortium is pretty significant. You've got major players from all over the ecosystem, like the DSP and data giant Yahoo, the SSP Pubmatic, and the sustainability platform Scope 3. Having such a diverse group collaborating right from the start, well, it signals that this is a very serious, industry-wide effort.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. This is not a magic bullet. Launching a new protocol like this raises just as many questions as it answers, and there are some very, very real challenges to overcome before this vision becomes a reality.
And these are the big looming questions, right? For instance, who's verifying that an AI agent is who it says it is? How do you even manage billing and prevent fraud in a world that's fully machine to machine?
And maybe the most important question of all, how do we make sure we aren't just replacing one opaque system with a new, even more complex AI black box? These are the critical hurdles that the consortium absolutely has to clear.
You know, this quote from Ariel Garcia over at Check My Ads, an organization that's all about ad tech accountability, just nails the healthy skepticism we all need to have. The potential is massive, for sure, but the execution is everything. The protocol itself has to enforce transparency. Otherwise, we're just, as she says, AI-ifying garbage in, garbage out.
So what can you actually do about this today? First, start learning. You got to audit your stack and figure out where interoperability with a new protocol might be an issue. Second, start talking to your partners. Ask your DSPs and SSPs what their plans are for testing ACP. And maybe most importantly, start preparing your own strategic advantage. Begin defining the data, the logic, and the values, like prioritizing low-carbon inventory, that you would want your own AI agent to use when it's out there negotiating for you.
Ultimately, ACP is a really ambitious attempt to build that missing layer for AI interoperability in our world. It promises to give our machines a common language to speak. But that leaves us with the most important question of all. What are we going to teach them to say? And that's the challenge and the opportunity for all of us.